Hey guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com. Today we're going to be learning Habanera, which is an aria from the opera Carmen. And if you're like me, this has always been such a almost enchanting type of melody. I've just always loved it. What's cool about the melody is that it does a chromatic run. So let's go ahead and talk about chromatic really quick. Basically, think of chromatic as either going up or down by a series of half steps. So this melody was written with a melody going down by half steps, right? So if you sing it out loud, da 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 ba da ba 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 ba, right? You can hear that melody just keeps decaying or going downwards, right? And that movement is by a half step. So it gives it a really cool sound. So that's something that I always dug about this tune. And it actually translated pretty well to the uke as well. So this is going to be part one. And in part one of the lesson, we're going to be learning basically the intro plus the complete melody A and melody B. If you guys would like to learn melody C, D, and E, or the rest of the arrangement, you can do so at rockclass101.com. It's available in part 2 of the video lesson. Also at rockclass101.com, you can get the complete tabs to print off. It's available as a PDF format, and then you can also get access to that on-screen tab viewer. It literally lets you hit play with this performance video or just the audio of the uke only, and you can watch the tab scroll across in real time. You can highlight bars to loop them. You can slow it down to whatever speed you want. It's just a great asset in learning this tune that much quicker. So again, all of that's available at rockclass101.com. So let's go ahead and kick into this lesson. So we're going to start off with the intro, and I'm going to give you guys an alternative way to play it easier as well, because it's got a bit of a stretch. So here's what the intro sounds like, and our intro is 3 bars in length. Okay, so you basically hear it's the same thing 3 times in a row, right? Ba, da, 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 right? Times by 3. So as you notice, my left hand has a huge stretch, right? Let's go ahead and talk about the hard way to play it, which is what I'm doing, and then we'll break it down for an easier way. So go ahead and take your index finger, put it on the 2nd fret of string 3, and then our ring finger is going to go on 5 on string 2, and then our pinky goes on 8 on string 1. So basically what I'm going is I'm hitting string 3, and then 2, and then 1, and then back to 2, right? But my rhythm's going to go, right? And if we want, we can kind of do a little staccato-y kind of sound, ba, 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 right? Just for that first note. So what I do for that staccato sound is I play the note, and then I lift my index finger up. So it doesn't come up, right? It's not, or else you hear that open string ring out. It just lift up. It's almost like when you touch the strings like lightly to mute it, that's the kind of lift up you get. So it barely comes up, just kind of mutes that string. So it gives it a nice little sound. Alright, so there's the hard way to do it. It's got a stretch. So if you're used to stretches, it shouldn't be too bad. But if you're not, let's go ahead and talk about a little bit of an easier way to play this. So we could do a jump with our left hand back and forth. So it would be kind of like this. Right? So basically that 5 on string 2, that's an A note, right? It's the same as the first string, open. So I can play that 2 on string 3, and then play an open first, and then 8 on string 1, and then open first again. So I have 2, 0, 8, 0, 2, 0, 8, 0, 2, 0, 8, 0, right? And that alleviates that big old stretch, right? So it's up to you guys if you want to play the harder way or if you want to play the easier way. Both are all the same notes and sound very similar. So there's our intro. Let's go ahead and just play it one more time all the way through. So the harder way was, okay, and the easier way was, okay. So now let's kick into melody A. So this song again is basically we have melody A, B, C, D, and E. We're going to be learning A and B in this lesson, which is part 1. Each of these melodies is 8 bars in length, right? So keep that in mind. So what we're going to do to break it down easier is, instead of learning 8 bars at a time, we're going to learn half of it. We're going to learn 4 bars at a time and then do the second 4 bars at a time. Then we'll put it all together and play all 8. So let's go ahead and just play the first 4 bars of melody A and then break it down and learn it. So here we go. Alright, so our first 4 bars for melody A actually highlights a D minor. So instead of that stock E minor with 3 fingers, here's what we're going to do for the first part. We're only going to use 2 fingers. So take your second finger, put it on the 2nd fret of string 3, and then take your index finger, put it on the 1st fret of string 2. And then our first string is open. So what we're going to be concerned about right now is only strings 1, 2, and 3. So again, I have 2, 1, 0. So I'm ignoring string 4 for right now. So my first bar sounds like this. Okay? Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to be playing string 3, string 2, and I'm going to stretch to 5 with my pinky on string 1. I'm going to pluck string 1 and 2 together and then drop my pinky down to 4 on string 1. So I have 3, 1 pluck, 4, right? 3, 1 pluck, 4. If I play it without calling. Okay? Our bar 2 sounds like this. Okay, again, slower, bar 2. So bar 2 starts with a triplet. Triplet 2 and, so that's our rhythm. So my pinky's gonna go down from 4th fret to the 3rd fret now. So I'm still keeping these fingers intact. And what I can do is I can hit the bottom 2 strings, and then I'm going to play string 1 2 more times, so I get a triplet. So I got strum triplet, right? 1, 2, 3. So 3 hits for that triplet. And then I'm going to take my ring finger, put it on the 2nd fret of string 1. And I'm going to lift my index finger up. I don't need it for right now. And I'm going to pluck 3 and 1 together. And then I'm going to add my first finger to the 1st fret of string 1. And I'm just going to hit that note by itself. So I have triplet 2 and, right, again, triplet 2 and. So what you see is what we talked about in the beginning of the video, right? It's got that movement of chromatic going down by half step, right? So it started on 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? And our next bar goes to 0. So you can hear how it's moving down, right? I'll go ahead and play it and pay a close watch on that. Okay, so you can hear and you can see how it just moves down by chromatic. That's what gives this song such a cool sound. So there's our first 2 bars, right? 3, 2, pluck, 1, triplet, pluck, 1, and again. Okay, slow. Okay, our next one goes to that stock D minor that we talked about without the 4th string. So it sounds like that. So I have strum and then string 1 open twice. And then I'm going to take this first finger. I'm going to play 1 on string 4, open string 4. So our rhythm right here is going to be putting a 16th notes for those opens. So we have strum, ba ba 1 0. So it's 2 quick hits, right? Right, strum, ba ba 1 0. Right, so that rhythm is real important too. Okay, again I have strum 0 0, 1 on string 4, open 4. Okay, so now our first 3 bars put together sound like this. Okay, the next one is going to be a hammer-on pull-off lick. It's really technique heavy and it's a bit tricky. So let's go ahead and play it first, then break it down. So that's what it sounds like. So again, staying with that D minor, we're gonna go, basically we can strum it or we can pluck it if we want. It doesn't matter. Alright, so what happens is all on string 2, the melody. So we're gonna go pluck or strum, hammer on to 3, pull off to 1, pull off to open, hammer on back to 1. So basically on string 2 you have 1, 3, 1, 0, 1, right? But we're keeping that middle finger down the whole time. So hammer on, pull off, hammer on, and then open 4, and then string 2. So again, okay, slow. So it's tricky, right? Da 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 da. Right? So if you can get that melody stuck in your head, it's a lot easier to play too, right? Ba da 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 da. Okay? So that gives us the first 4 bars. And let's talk about where it ends on for the 5th bar. The 5th bar starts with basically lifting that first finger and playing the 2nd fret of string 3 and the open 2. So it gives us a nice ending spot. Right? So let's go ahead and play bars 1 through 4 all the way through, and then we're going to tackle the second half of melody A. So here we go. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to the second half. And the second half is going to throw some variations in there, but the key difference too is that instead of highlighting out of a D minor chord, now we're going to be highlighting out of a G minor for the second half of melody A. So here's what the second half sounds like. Okay, so that's what it sounds like. Let's go ahead and break it down now. So we're going to start with our index finger on the 2nd fret of string 3. And you're going to pluck that plus the 2nd string open. So you hit both those together. And then you're going to hit string 3 again. And then add your middle finger to 3 on string 4 and your pinky to 5 on string 1. We're going to pluck those 2 together and then move your pinky to 4 on 1. So here's what that bar sounds like again. Okay, again. Okay, one more time. Pluck, 3, pluck, 1. After that, we're going to this G minor 6. So we can add our ring finger if we want, or with your pinky. I'd probably use the ring finger though. Right, so what I did was I kept my middle finger and first finger anchored, so I didn't move them at all. So that middle finger is still on 3 on string 4. Index is still on 2 on string 3. 2nd string is open, but now my ring finger is on 3 on string 1. So what we've got for the first part is a triplet, right, before we start that chromatic walk down for the last part of the bar. So we have triplet, so it's strum 1, 1, and then we're going to 2 on string 1, and then 1 on string 1, right? So it walks chromatically down. So again, we have... Okay, and when I walk chromatically down, watch, I lift that ring up, and my first finger comes down to play 2, 1, right? But my middle finger can stay there to help bring that chord out better. Okay, again, triplet, 2, 1. Okay, so the first 2 bars for the second half. Okay, again. Okay, next one, we're going to, basically it's a G7 sus chord. Think of it as that D minor that we did in the beginning, right? But the only difference is that we're adding the 4th string open this time. So you're going to play all 4 strings. So you can also think of it as like a D minor over the G. So 0, 2, 1, 0. So not too bad since we know that chord already. So this one's actually the same rhythm. Triplet, 4, 2, right? So string 4 is open and then string 2 is that first fret, right? Again, triplet, 4, 2. So highlights all out of that chord. So our first 3 bars now is... Okay, again slow. Okay, now we're playing out of an A7. So think of your stock A7, right? It's just 0, first finger on the first fret, string 3, 0, 0, right? But what we're going to do is kind of the same thing as before where we had that hammer-on pull-off lick. So again, we're going to be highlighting string 2 for the melody for the first part, but this whole bar is only focusing on strings 3 and 2. So it sounds like this. Okay, so again, we're going to start with plucking 3 and 2, and we're going to do a hammer-on pull-off on string 2. So 0, 1, 0. Right, so I pluck 3 and 2, hammer-on pull-off. Okay, then I can take my ring finger, play 2 on string 3, and then open 2, and then put my middle finger back down on 1 on string 2, pluck that, and then the open 2. So I have triple ba da da da, right? So real quick hits, right? Hammer on 2 and pluck, open. So again, I have hammer on 2 on string 3, open 2, put it back down, pluck both 1, and then open 2. So it's real tricky, this bar. Okay, and then to give us context, we're going to end on 2 on string 3, and that'll start the B melody. So, okay, so now that gives us the second half, right? So let's play the second half all the way through. Okay, now we've got the complete A melody. So let's go ahead and play the A all the way through. Okay, so that's what we end up with. So again, this is a very technique-heavy arrangement. I would really recommend breaking it down and learning it bar by bar and learning one melody at a time, right? So master the A melody before you move on to the B melody, you know, and then master B before you move on to the C. That's the best way to do it. And the tab player is what really, really helps you guys. So be sure to go to rockclass101.com, and premium membership includes access to that tab player where you can literally highlight bars. Like you can literally go right, and it'll loop it, and you can slow it down to whatever speed. So it's a great way to work on 1 bar or 2 bars or 4 bars or whatever, as many as you want at a time at whatever pace you want to go at. All right, so let's talk about the B melody now. Actually, our B melody is really similar to the A, so that actually helps us out a lot. So the B melody continues with the first half in D minor and the second half in G minor. So think of it basically as like some variations, and a lot of this tune is building dynamics as well. So our B melody, we're going to play with a little bit more oomph in it, right, to kind of build the tune up a little bit. So let's go ahead and do the same thing. Let's play just the first half and then break it down, and then we'll tackle the second half. So here's the first 4 bars for the B melody. Okay, so that's basically what it sounds like. So what we first notice is that we're throwing in just a little bit of a variation for that first bar. So again, it starts on 2 on string 3, but this time around we're going to hit the open 1, and then we're back to 1 and 5, plucking both of those, but when our pinky comes down to 4, we're going to pluck both of those again. So we have 3, oh, pluck, pluck, right? So it's a little variation, right? So again, 3, 1, pluck, pluck, again. Okay, back to that D minor with the middle finger and the first finger, right? So that stock little D minor and our pinky on 3. So this bar is actually basically identical to the other one. So we're going to strum 3 down, play a triplet, then plucking 2 and 2, and then the first fret. So all that's the same. Right, so triplet 2 and so the first 2 bars together. Okay, slow. Okay, the next bar we're going to go to the full D minor shape. So it's like that stock cowboy chord or that basic D minor. So instead of the 3 down, we're going to just do second finger, third finger, first finger open, right? So just the basic D minor. And the rest of the bar is actually the same. So we have strum, O, then 1 on string 4, open string 4. So remember, that's like quick hits, right? Strum, pa, pa, da, da. So the only difference here is that we're making the full D minor chord, right? So now we've got the first 3, and let's talk about 4, and then we'll play all the way through. Bar 4 is actually identical as well to what we did in the first A melody. So all that's the same, right? Where the hammer on, pull off, open, hammer on, open 4, then string 2. So that bar is actually identical. So as we mentioned before, you only see a few variations, right? The second half has some more dynamic hits. So let's go ahead and play the first 4 all the way through, and then let's break down the second half. Okay, so again, very similar to the first melody A. So the second half, like I said, we're building a little bit more dynamic. So here's what the second half sounds like, and then we'll go ahead and break it down. So what we notice, the big difference is all the notes in the playing, they're all the same, but the big difference are the little kind of like rake strums that we're doing to kind of really accent and kind of build a dynamic and emphasis of some of these chords that we have. So it starts the same, you know, everything's identical. So that was the same. Right, but that hit is what's different, right? So that G minor 6 that we played, which was 3, 2, 0, 3, we're going to do this little rake strum. So the trick with this strum is it's going to be pinky, third, second, first, right? Real quick, one after the other. Ba, ba, ba. So we still got to keep that triplet. Da, 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 right? Still that triplet. And we're doing it again for the next one. And we still got to keep that triplet. So it's just a quick little hit, right? So you just want to practice like that to kind of get that hit, especially keeping that time going steady. Right? It's just a real cool sounding technique that really helps build the oomph for that. So that bar is all the same. After that, it's identical. Right? So those 4 bars are identical to A, with the exception of those 2 chord hits being with a little bit more dynamic. Now it ends on a D major chord, right? So that's actually the first hit of the C melody. That D major chord is 2, 2, 2, 0, and I'm using middle, third, and pinky, right? So if I play the last bar for B, right, we resolve to the D major. Because the second half of this song, which is what's really interesting, is that the first half is like minor, so melodies A and B in that intro were minor. Then the second half, the rest of the tune, C, D, and E, modulate to the relative major. So we went from D minor to, we're going to D major now for the second half, right? So it's just really cool. It gives a nice change and a nice sound as well. So the tone of the song changes from sad to happy. Okay, so now that we've got the B melody learned, let's just play it all the way throughout, and then we'll wrap this video up. Alright guys, so that's basically what our B melody sounds like one time through. So again, we've learned the intro, the melody A and the melody B, and as you've noticed, melody A and B are very similar, just slight variations and kind of building dynamics a little bit. Like we mentioned too, the C and the D and the E melody all modulate to the relative major. So now instead of playing in D minor, you're playing in D major. So the second half of this tune is just really cool. Plus you got that change in the melody, right? Da 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 da. Da, 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 right? So we have that change that's coming up too. So if you'd like to learn the second half and get access to the tabs and the on-screen tab viewer, which literally lets you hit play with this performance, slow it down, loop bars, all that fun stuff, that's all available at rockclass101.com. So I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks.